Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from all over to you, all over the world. And welcome to today's session. Today we shall be looking at personal branding for professional development. Personal branding for professional development. Welcome to today's session. I am your most favorite personal brand strategist, George, from Cameroon. Accept fraternal greetings from your brothers and sisters here in Cameroon. If you are listening or watching from any other part of the country, of the continent or the world other than Cameroon. As a personal brand strategist, I coach socially conscious game changers, business entrepreneurs, and corporate professionals like you to leverage personal branding to position themselves as top leaders in their industry and enhance their businesses and careers. So in the few minutes that follow, we shall be looking at how you can build. But before we proceed, let us look at what today's presentation will actually look like. By the end of this training, you shall be able to define personal brand and personal branding, differentiate between personal brand and personal branding, and know the importance of personal branding to professional development, and understand how to start building your personal brand as a professional. And the first thing I wish to ask you is, do you understand that you own a personal brand? That's the first thing. Now, I guess that you have an answer to your question. What is it that comes to your mind when you see or hear about the images you see on the screen? For instance, the first image at the top left is Nelson Mandela. Directly below him is Queen Elizabeth. Below her is Roger Miller. And then at the top right, we have Oprah Winfrey. Below her, Martin Luther King. And below him, Mother Teresa. What is it that comes to your mind when you see these people, when you hear about them? Certainly, you know at least one of these icons, and there's something that's running across your mind. You're surely thinking about football when you see Roger Miller at the bottom left. Think of royalty when you see Queen Elizabeth. Think of social justice, freedom, peace, the fight for liberation. When you think of Nelson Mandela, you're thinking of women in leadership. The Oprah Winfrey Show, when you see Oprah Winfrey, you're thinking of the fight for social justice, freedom, and equality. When you look at when you look at Martin Luther King, and then Mother Teresa, you surely think of her works of charity, and so on and so forth. Now, let me burst your bubble. You don't only own a personal brand, because each time we talk of personal brand, people think of corporate brand. You don't only own a personal brand, you are the most important business of the 21st century. You see, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, you are your own brand. About a decade or so, each time you talk of brand, people think of corporate brand, company brand, product brand, service brand. But now, in the advent of social media and the evolution of the business of the 21st century, branding is no longer the reserve of corporate branding. It has extended now to personal branding, because people buy you first before they buy your product, before they buy your service, before they invest in you, before they want to work with you. They buy you first. You see, when I mentioned, or when I display the images of those global icons on the screen, there's something that ran across your mind. Those things that run across your mind about them is what represents their personal brand. So your personal brand is the long-lasting impression, the immediate feeling, the gut feeling, the perception that people have about you anytime they hear about you, anytime they come across you, each time they see you, based on the interactions or the experiences they've had with you, or based on what others have told them about you. You see, and then personal branding comes in because even though we cannot specifically tell people what they should think about us, we can actually influence the way they perceive us, the way they see us, the way they think about us. The very way in which companies across the globe package their products and present the best attributes of those products to ensure that you prefer them over other products in the market, you prefer them over other companies in the market, you prefer them over other services in the market. It is a very thing too with us individuals. In the 21st century, you will surely not spend your entire life on the same job. You shall not spend your entire life in the same company. You shall not spend your entire life working in the same country, in the same town, and so on and so forth, working with the same people. You surely have to be mobile. You may pursue even several careers. And so the most critical person here is not the business you're working for. The most critical factor here is not the job you're working for. It's not the business you're doing. It is the person in and around that business, in and around that profession, in and around that career that matters. And what is the lasting impression people have about you? If you do not consciously brand yourself, if you do not consciously portray yourself in a way that people can perceive you, what then will people perceive about you? People surely develop their own impressions depending on what they think. But you have it in your hands to control the narrative around your personal brand. That's where personal branding comes in. Marketing yourself, promoting yourself in the best way possible, and we are going to see all of that. Now, let us look at why it's important to build your personal brand as a professional. Look at this X displayed on the screen. Which of these X will you choose as your best X? All other things remaining equal. And if you were to give a reason for it, what would be your reason? All other things remaining equal here, it simply means these X are of the same sizes, same shape, same, everything, same content. What will you do to really differentiate and pick out one of these X as the best? It becomes difficult. This is exactly how, when you are not branded, you are like someone who is operating in the commodity market. Differentiation is so difficult. The experience clients have, the experience employers have, choosing you over another, making a choice as whether or not to position you in this or that rank, this or that job, this or that assignment, becomes difficult because you're poorly differentiated. You see, with this X, it is clear that the golden X stands out in the lot because it is unique, unlike in the previous case. Look at this one. The white X stands out, not only in terms of color, but its size, amplified size. Look at these. They have different colors, good qualities. Sorry about the poor network. As I was saying, when you look at this tray of eggs, you see that it's relatively easier to differentiate because they are well packaged and well differentiated in terms of color, most likely content. Now, I mentioned earlier that personal branding will make you stand out from many others who offer similar products and services. It differentiates you from others because there are so many people outside there who have done exactly the things you do, or who do exactly the things you do. They've attained the same level of education like you. They've attained the same level of training. They've gone to the same schools like you. They have the same working experience like you. But how then do you position yourself in a way that differentiates you? It is by consciously branding yourself. Personal branding will also help you increase awareness about the things you do. It will increase your visibility, your level of influence, your level of impact, and even your level of income. Personal branding will build trust in the minds of those who follow you. When you are consistent and coherent in your actions, it builds confidence in the minds of those that work with you, those that want to do business with you. Builds loyalty. They want to do business with you over and over. It will establish you as a trusted authority in your industry so that people can come towards you each time they need solutions to their problems. Birds of a feather flock together. So personal branding will help to bring people who share common values with you so that you can work together. People can identify you and get to you, connect with you. Your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth. That's a quote from Tim Sanders. So don't play with that. It exposes you to opportunities. Okay? Because people want to work with people who are clearly defined. People want to work with noble brands. People want to work with people who pursue noble causes. It's but normal. It gives you relatively higher bargaining power because the more outstanding you are, your demand will be relatively higher, but supply will be low. Many more people are rooting for you, and you have just 24 hours a day. What will you do? So your price relatively goes higher. Besides, they believe in your quality of offer because practice makes perfect. The more consistent you do the things you do and you establish yourself as an authority, people believe you and they know that your solutions are viable. Now, how do you build a brand as an emerging professional? You cannot brand what you do not know. You must understand who you are first. Okay. Do an introspective evaluation, a self-evaluation, deep thought, and ask yourself, who are you? What are you good at? What are your best attributes? What are your skills? What are your talents? Are there existing opportunities around you? Identify your weaknesses and threats so that you can even work on them and improve on them. You see, you are doing this training because you wish to improve on your skills. It is not enough to be talented. And once you have identified all these skills, talents, and so on, list them down. List at least 5 of them. If you have just 3, no problem, list them. If you have just 1 or 2, no problem, list them. And then you start defining your brand, okay? Once you've listed all these things, start defining your brand, because you will not be available everywhere. You'll not be jack of all trades and master of none. No. Start asking yourself, but why do I wish to brand myself? The purpose for branding yourself should be beyond just earning money, unlike what most people do. Your purpose is the reason why you wish to brand yourself beyond just earning money. If all you can do is just to earn money, then with time you will lose a sense of fulfillment. You will not be committed. You will witness what we call mission drift, because you'll be influenced more by money than purpose. So you need to brand yourself. You need to build your brand on purpose, intentionally, deliberately, rather than just dancing up and down and running after money that sometimes is even in contravention with your values, your mission. Mission now, what will you be doing to sustain your brand purpose? What will you be doing in order to achieve the end result of your brand? The icons that are portrayed at the beginning of this presentation, we can recall them with specific actions that they did because they did those things consistently, purposefully, to achieve a desired result, which has now defined their brand. That is exactly what you should do as a career professional. Your vision is what you think you would achieve in future after building your brand, the end result of building your brand, the ideal you in the course of personal branding journey. Your values, what are the principles? What are the ideals that you stand for that will define your thoughts, your decisions and actions? Is it everything you just settle for? If somebody from a terrorist group comes to sponsor your project in the community, for instance, will you take it? Or will you turn it down because it doesn't fall in line with your mission, with your values, with your purpose? The audience, you need to know who to address yourself to. Define your audience. Find out what are their preferences. What do they like? What are the problems they are facing? What solutions do they need? Where do they regularly meet? What is their age group? What is their income level? And so on and so forth. The message, how do you intend to communicate to your target population? The tone matters. The message will be communicating your brand promise, what you've identified as a problem and what you can solve as a solution. So you'll be addressing that through a brand message. And the promise will contain, your brand promise will contain your purpose and the mission, stating exactly who you are, what you are up to, so that people who resonate with it can connect. It serves now as a binding factor, but there's a tone with which you have to address this, because the tone needs to suit the context of the target audience you've chosen. If you want to communicate to children in nursery school or kindergarten, you may need to use cartoons, for example. You may need to use animative messages. If you're communicating to people in rural communities, you may need to use informal communication. If you want to address issues related to a formal community, you may use formal communication. You may want to be interactive. You may want to be humorous. You may want to sound informed, educated, authoritative, and so on. Be careful not to sound arrogant, rude, and so on. Those are turn-offs also. Your story. How did you come about what you do? For instance, how do you come about what you do? For instance, my story, how did I come about personal branding? I was serving as interim director of the Department of Small Business and Entrepreneurship Center at a non-governmental organization. And during the COVID-19, we did a research on the state of small businesses in Cameroon. So I got to realize that one of the reasons for business failures in Cameroon was because of poor marketing and branding. And so during the COVID-19, while working from home, I wanted to cope with the boredom of idleness. So I started doing online courses. And then one of them, I settled on an online course on personal branding. I did so much research and I found that there are so many people outside there who do not even know they own a personal brand. Talk less of even knowing how to go about branding themselves. Then I said, oh, this is something that I should really help people. Since my calling is in the field of teaching and transforming lives to make them a better version of who they are, I said this is a mission that I need to engage in to help people to be able to identify, define, and align to their true brand potentials and elevate their personal brands and leverage that to run their businesses and to pursue their careers and become better versions of who they are and improve on their productivity. That is how I came about what I'm doing today. When I was born, or when I was going to school, I never dreamt of being a personal brand strategist. So that's my story. Your identity, the look and feel of your personal brand. When you look at my presentation, you see that my brand identity is blue and turquoise because it has a message it communicates. It is unique. And when you go through all of my platforms, you realize that that is how all my designs look like. Now, promote yourself. You cannot afford to be the best kept secret. No matter how excellent your offer, no matter how excellent you are as an individual, no matter how excellent you are on the job, no matter how excellent you are as a business professional, if you do not let people to know who you are, then you will not be accessible. Do not make yourself available. People will not know what you can offer. They don't know what you contain in you. Content marketing is the best form of investment in this social media era, where you can publish content free of charge that attends to or that solves a particular problem or pain point in the lives of your audience. Engage in seminars, workshops, webinars, conferences like in your industry in order to present your brand to diverse audiences and in different ways so that people can get to know you. Engage in radio talks, TV shows, podcasts, and so on and so forth. Without an effective social media presence, you cannot claim to be a successful personal brand in the 21st century, because anytime somebody who needs your attention, they'll just Google your name and Google will testify about you. Be focused. You cannot afford to be a jack of all trades and master of none. You can't build a brand around all of your attributes. When defining your brand, you see, you realize that you are multi-talented, multi-skilled, multitask, and so on. But you choose one aspect and be known for it. Choose one aspect and position yourself as an authority, as an expert in it. When you talk of, say, McDonald's, which is a global brand, a global food brand, people know McDonald's for hamburgers, but McDonald's does many other things, but it is reputed for its hamburger. The other things are miniature, while hamburger stands out. So choose your best attribute, what you think you can do best, that can solve a specific problem in the lives of people that you love to do, and that can earn you a living, and focus your attention, focus your energy on it. Okay. Once you are consistent, it brings clarity in the minds of your audience. You're consistent, it builds clarity in the minds of your audience. It eases recognition. It makes your appearance reliable and trustworthy. It enhances your influence, amplifies your impact, and fosters loyalty in the minds of your audience. So the more consistent you are, the better for you. You're not running up and down for everything that comes across your way. You need to have a personal brand elevator pitch. At the beginning of this session, I told you that I coach socially conscious game changers, corporate professionals, and business owners to help them identify, define, and align to their personal brands, to leverage that in order to improve on their businesses, increase their influence, visibility, and income. That's what I told you. So you need to be able to tell people what you do, who you do it for, and what makes you unique. Elevator pitch, because it is a catchy statement that tells someone around you, or tells your audience in a short space of time exactly what you can offer, why they should want to continue the discussions with you. Imagine that you met somebody in an elevator and you have just about 30 to 60 seconds to tell him what you do, who you do it for, and how you do it that makes you unique, the impact you create. That's why it's an elevator pitch, because it heightens the interest of the person listening to you, to want to listen to you more, to want to continue with the engagement. So the person now will be willing to exchange contacts with you so that he or she can know more about you. Elevator, because it is expected that it should be brief, so that if you were in an elevator, you can actually define yourself in a short while to somebody. Now, I want you to take home this message. You are the most important business of the 21st century. That's why personal branding is very important for your success, whether you are an individual, you're a leader, you're a career professional, business owner. Personal branding is important. It has significant long-term consequences on your career path, as well as your earning potential. You cannot afford to joke with it. Investing in your personal brand will make you and your business more discoverable. It will make you and a career and your business more discoverable, more differentiable, more likable, more trustable, more shareable, more respectable, more memorable, more valuable, more durable, and more indispensable in your industry. That is the take-home message. That is a summary of all of what I've been saying here today. Thank you very much. It's been an honor attending to you today. And thank you so much for this unique opportunity to share valuable insights with you. At any time, I'll be willing to share knowledge, wisdom, skills on how you can build an outstanding personal brand. I'm